Rishi Sunak's famous 5 pledges is to stop the boats. I think that's a phrase he wishes he'd never said, but he did say it, and he kept repeating it. He stood in a plinth with "stop the boats" on it, so it's perhaps unfortunate for the Prime Minister that we have reached another landmark today. GB News can reveal that 25,000 migrants have now crossed the Channel in small boats this year. So look, I went out and about a little bit earlier on, pounding the pavement here at Tory party conference to find out what young Tory party members thought about whether we should leave the ECHR.
I think that it would be the wise thing to do for this country, because a massive part of us leaving the European Union is to take back control of our ability to dictate who gets into the country on our terms. And I think the last major hurdle to that is the ECHR and the authority of the courts in Strasbourg and in Europe.
I don't think the ECHR itself is the problem. The problem, I think, is the way it's translated into British law, such as the Human Rights Act, the Equality Act. I think it just needs to be reformed and looked at again. The Conservatives need to come and look at it again, and then perhaps legislate it more properly in a more modern way so that it doesn't interfere with their agenda.
We need to be able to take back control of all our laws, and one thing that the ECHR is stopping us doing is sorting out the boats issue, and we need to sort that out. So we should put our country first and say, no, we should leave the ECHR, and we're going to stop the boats.
Look, not a massive amount of diversity there, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. Genuinely, that does seem to be the general consensus in the particular rooms that I am in here at Conservative Party conference. Interestingly, and especially amongst the young. I'm joined now by Sir Michael Fabricant. Sir Michael, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show.
Can I just say...
you, sir, yes. You
No. And also, I didn't like the fact you said among the young. But now we have Michael Fabricant.
Well, I can only apologise. I didn't mean that. I never would, of course. You've held yourself together nicely. Now, so, should we leave the ECHR?
If the ECHR stopped the Supreme Court from saying, yes, we can take people out to Rwanda, and we can't get an exemption, Sweden and 1 or 2 other countries have got exemptions for certain things, so lots of ifs. If we can't get any of that, yes, the United Kingdom Supreme Court should be the Supreme Court. It isn't supreme if the ECHR can overrule it.
Look what you've got on your lapel there. It's the Union flag. It's the flag of Ukraine. What do you say to people who will say, if we're out of the ECHR, we're just like Russia and Belarus?
I would say we helped set up the ECHR, as did the United States. But you know what? The United States said, we don't need a court in Strasbourg to tell us how to be decent human beings. And I would say, you know what? Britain doesn't need to have lessons from French and Germans who did some pretty awful things in the Second World War. Yes, the French too. And, you know, this country can be proud of its human rights record. Yes, we should support the ECHR. We should help fund them.
Okay.
But to be told by the ECHR that our Supreme Court is wrong?
Yeah.
No, that's what it was never set up for.
Why don't Conservative Party members get a vote on it?
Oh, I think because we don't do referendums in this country.
It's an internal one, though, isn't it? When it's shaped just government policy, that could be.
Well, you could say that about everything.
You let leaders like that sometimes. Not this one, it must be said.
Well, let's have a referendum on the future of HS2. That would solve it pretty quickly.
Yeah, there are a few key issues I think that it would be worthwhile having a referendum on. One of them I'm going to be talking about a bit later on about net zero as well, actually. But when it comes to pulling out the ECHR, taking back control of our borders, getting some flights to Rwanda off the ground. You know, Rishi Sunak's going to be talking in one of the rooms behind me here tomorrow, I believe it is. I mean, do you want him to talk about that? Do you want him to say that? Because otherwise you're just plodding along and the boats continue to come, no?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'd also say this to Rishi, if he occasionally watches GB News, which I know he does. Rishi's instincts are great.
Right.
Rishi's instincts are really sound, and a lot of Conservative members would go with his instincts. He has got to stop listening to advisors, stop reading the autocue, and say what he really believes.
I mean, it's the opposite of what my producers want me to do, which is read the autocue more and stop going off piste. So there we go. But I was at an event last night. Priti Patel was there. Lord Cruddas was there, major party donor. What he said in front of everyone was that people should stop donating to the Conservative Party because it's disengaged with its grassroots. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that they shouldn't carry on giving money, and I don't agree that it's disengaged from its grassroots. But I do think that the Conservative Party, like the Labour Party actually, sometimes gets just a little bit too tangled up in its own management structures. As I say, Rishi's the leader. If he goes for his instincts, we'll get there.
If he goes to his instincts, and I believe that you're right in what you say there, which is I think if Rishi Sunak goes with his instincts, he will be more in line with what the Conservative Party base wants. So there you go.
And what is right for the UK too.
In your view. Now, final question. Should Nigel Farage become a member of the Conservative Party again? Should he be allowed to?
I think we should go on our hands and knees and beg him, and I think we should award him with a knighthood, which he should have had years ago. And I think that the way the Conservative Party, well, they would argue that the way Nigel Farage has treated the Conservative Party, so it's probably 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. But yes, listen, I was here when Nigel Farage walked into the place about 2 or 3 hours ago. Everyone was saying, what's happening? Is Rishi? Because everyone was rushing forward. Security meant it was Nigel Farage arriving. We love him. Listen, we would still be in the European Union if it hadn't been for Nigel Farage forcing, in effect, the referendum on David Cameron. So, yes.
So you would let Nigel Farage back into the Tories?
I would invite him back into the Conservative Party.
Strong stuff. Very strong stuff. So, Michael, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Great to have you on
Cheers,
the show.
Patrick.
I'll be seeing you again tomorrow. Thanks, Michael Fabricant. There.